What's up everyone, Max Power here, and today we're going to be featuring this Miraidon EX deck. This is a deck that when Scarlet and Violet first came out, it was actually supposed to be one of the more popular decks to take over the entire format. However, it has not panned out that way thus far, and it's been 2 releases since. However, it's still a deck that you can build, have fun with, and kind of experiment to see what would be the best way to play it. One way, of course, to do this is by playing Mareep Flaffy Engine with its Dynamotor, so you can accelerate energies from your discard pile to your main attackers. Ampharos EX, there's a one-off in here so that it can be one of many attackers we're going to be featuring in this version of the deck. I kind of like it, and you'll see why. It's a bit fun. Thunderstrike lets you do 240 if you discard some energies. As you might notice, we're actually voicing over the video because I had technical issues with the software picking up the mic, but we should be good now. The other version is playing Regieleki V and VMAX, where it actually gives you 30 additional damage when you play VMAX, and it does this, helps this for your basic electric Pokemon such as Miraidon. However, that version, which was supposed to be the best, is not, but the version I'm going to be showing has 4 different attackers, and we're going to be looking at them today. First up is Miraidon EX. Its Tandem Unit ability lets you play 2 basic electric Pokemon from your bench, from your deck all the way to your bench, kind of like a built-in battle VIP pass. You could do this as many times as you want, or stackable I should say, so it's not just once, it's once per turn per Pokemon. You can do this later on in the game, not just the turn you play it, and it's pretty useful, as well as its Photon Blaster attack does 220 for 3 energy. Not too bad, it's very low maintenance. And we're going to be showcasing some of the others, of course. We mentioned Flaffy already, but Raichu V is actually an excellent attacker, similar to Chien-Pao, in that you discard energy so that you can do 60 damage times the amount of energy you discarded. So this is perfect for one-shotting a lot of Pokemon with high HP. Anything that's a V-Star or V-Max, Raichu's your guy for taking them down. Also has a fast charge that lets you accelerate energy to it if it's your first turn, and you can use this attack. Another option that's good to have here is Raikou V. Fleet-footed ability lets you draw a card when he's in your active, as well as Lightning Rondo, which ramps up as you have higher bench numbers, both you and your opponent. So he's a good mid attacker. Anywhere up until about 220 damage is what he deals with. So Raikou's a good middle attacker, as well as Miraidon. Your main ones are going to be Ampharos and Raichu V. We also have Lumineon, so we can check for our supporters from the deck. You pick and choose as you need when you play it with your Luminous sign. We have a one-off here of Zeraora, mainly because of its free retreat, nothing else, but he's in case you need a one-prize attacker, he's your guy. You can do 60 damage for 1 energy, and then you just rotate and retreat as needed. Of course, the deck comes built with other options. For example, Beach Court, which can help you reduce your retreat cost by 1. You've got Drapion V for the Mew matchup, as well as Rapid Strike or Single Strike, because Dynamic Tail becomes a free attack, no energy is needed. So pretty much now we're going to be showcasing the energy of the trainers. Electric Generator, you get to search your top 5 cards of the deck and add 2 electric energies to your Pokemon as you see, as well as the Beach Court that we were talking about earlier. I'd like to take this time to show an announcement here. I'm actually announcing my eBay store that just started not too long ago. I'm going to be adding singles cards such as this Beach Court, an Electric Generator that we saw earlier. Very cool if you want to be building your own decks and you need somewhere to buy singles. There's no affiliate links, but I'm going to be including my eBay store link in the description below. Really appreciate it if you take it out. Of course, I'm going to be adding more cards to this sealed product, graded stuff over time, so I really hope you guys check it out, and thank you for the time. Of course, we're also playing other staple cards in this deck, such as Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, Escape Rope, Switch Cards, just to kind of help the consistency and the motion as needed. Boss's Orders is a must in every single deck. Always play 2 to 3 copies. We also have Professor's Research to help refresh your hand and draw 7 cards. This is one of those decks you want to play Research in. Judge to help disrupt your opponent and draw new cards, as well as Serena that can do both of those, either boss up your opponent's bench V Pokemon or draw up to 5 cards when you discard some in your hand. We are playing 1 copy of Forest Seal Stone, since we have the Raichu and the Raikou in our deck, and you can search your deck for any 1 card as a Star Alchemy ability. We're playing 15 energy, which would be more than enough so we can pull them out with our Electric Generators, and have multiple attackers and swing with Raichu as needed. If you guys enjoy the content, we're going to be checking this deck out, playing on the ladder. I believe we're only setting up for one game today, but we will hope to show all of the attackers in action so that you see how the deck is supposed to flow, how it works, and see that it's pretty fun. It is a lower tier deck, a tier 2 deck. It's not likely not going to win you any tournaments or so many games, but you can always tweak it around and still have fun with it and still win. I mean, that's the whole point, right? To have fun and to win some games. Our opponent loses the coin flip. They give us the option. This deck does not mind going first or second, but I think we choose to go first here, as we do. And no, we let them go first. That's true, because again, we don't mind. If we go second, we get to build up our Pokemon, and it gives us the possibility to have a first turn attack. And Miraidon EX is our starting Pokemon. It appears that our opponent is playing a Chien-Pao deck because they have Baxcalibur as well as some water type cards. So we take that mulligan. And right now, if we are playing a water or steel type water deck, weak to electric and steel, that might work to our advantage. And they start with Bidoof. So let's see what kind of version of this deck they're playing, because Chien-Pao and Baxcalibur have been very popular. It was one of the last videos that we showcased, one of the last decks. There's a lot of different ways you can build it, and it's pretty versatile in a way. It's pretty fun. Personally, I like to play it with Palkia, but some others do not. There's also a version of it where you can play Arceus, so that you can have an amazing setup. But of course, Chien-Pao is not unbeatable. So the opponent plays Ultra Ball to search for, I'm guessing, a new basic Pokemon. I think they pull up, they pull up Radiant Greninja. A great start for any deck, obviously. Ours, surprisingly, is not playing Radiant Greninja. It doesn't need, because it already has that draw power, and really you don't have that fit because you're going to have a lot of electric Pokemon on your bench anyway. There comes the Chien-Pao, as expected. And the reason they're retreating the Bidoof so early is not because it's weak, but because they want to use the Shivery Chill ability to pull out 2 water energy cards from their deck. A good way to thin the deck, a good way to draw out the stuff that you need. But unless you have a Frigibax in your bench, you are not going to be accelerating any of those energies, which can hinder Chien-Pao. We're going to start off with Tandem Unit. And at this point, I think we're trying to pull out Raikou V and another Miraidon so that we can bring out 2 more Pokemon. So Raikou's there. That's our first choice, if I'm not mistaken. We're just trying to map out how we're going to do things. And Miraidon. Love that alternate art. Really wish to either pull it or buy it at some point. So now, as we mentioned, we can stack this ability. Our second one can use Tandem Unit again. And now we're going to use it to pull the 2 Mareeps so that we can set up Flaffies and accelerate energies from the discard pile to our bench. Okay. We could use Nest Ball here to get something else out, or maybe we save it for later. But honestly, I think we're just going to kind of hold on to the hand, maybe attach an energy. We retreat to our Raikou V so that we can Fleet Foot. Excellent move. It's a free draw right there. Boss's Orders. Not something we need right away, but maybe later on. And at this point, I'm contemplating whether or not I want to use Forest Seal Stone. Why? Because I can kind of pull out an electric generator and see if we can get that first turn attack off. Unfortunately, we didn't realize that electric generator only works on electric Pokemon on your bench, not in the active position. We do decide to Serena so that we can thin the hand and draw cards from our deck. We could have accelerated energy so we could have drawn one other card, but that's okay. At least we're moving through it and it's not stale or not stagnant. You never want to have a hand that either doesn't have a supporter or some sort of draw engine, because then you run the risk of bricking, and that is bad. So we're going to Forest Seal Stone, and I think here we're looking for that electric generator. We do have 3 in the deck, 1 in the prize cards. And again, this lets us search energy directly from the deck and play it onto our bench, not our active. But it's still good. We go to one of our Miraidons. which is still good. I think next turn we set up Raikou to attack anyway. And it didn't look like our opponent had too much going for them because they really needed to have that Frigibax on the bench turn 1. So we're prepping 2 attackers. We so far technically have 3 on the field right now in the form of the 2 Miraidon, the Raikou on the active. And next turn we'll be able to dish out to some damage even if we don't knock out that Chien-Pao. But let's see how we navigate this one, folks. Beach Court is in play, so that lets us retreat for 1 less cost. A lot of electric Pokemon tend to be faster, so Raikou and Miraidon can move around for no cost because it eliminates that 1 energy cost to 0. Your opponent Shivery Chills again, but however they don't have the means to move all that energy. All they can do is use concealed cards from Greninja to draw cards, but for whatever reason they're not getting the Frigibax. We did see that they play it because they have Baxcalibur, and that research was kind of bad. They got rid of so many resources early on for no reason. Although I think the strategy is to throw all those energy in the discard pile. We'll see why. It didn't make sense to me at the time, honestly, not like that. You want to get rid of them slowly, like with Greninja, with Ultra Ball. And this deck is playing Blissey V. What a surprise. Of all things that this deck could be playing, and it shows Blissey V. Kind of surprising, and it did slap on the Bravery Charm, which brings its HP up to 300 from 250. And Bibarel helps you to draw. Now it's our turn, and they play another Chien-Pao and 1 energy to the Blissey V. We did get a judge, which is good for consistency. So at this point we're Ultra Balling for Flaffy so that we can accelerate, like we mentioned with Dynamotor. Very helpful in this circumstance, or this is what we want to be doing with this deck. I manually attach the electric energy so that Raikou can attack, and then I judge for free 4 cards. And we also make our opponent have to get 4 new cards. Maybe good, maybe bad, but in a situation where you have 0 cards in your hand and 1 supporter, you always want to play that supporter. So we decide to Electric Generator, why not, so that we can prepare our other attackers since we did get these. And there you have it. We had 2. We're preparing both our Miraidons, which is actually really nice. Very good to have. And we've got both of them with 2 energy. We've got pretty much everything set up and ready to go. The board is about 80% prepped for us to just do whatever we need. We Dynamotor, since there was at least 1 energy in the discard, and now one of the Miraidons is ready to go. Raikou can go ahead and blast it. Although, looking back at this, I just realized we could have retreated the Raikou and knocked out that Chien-Pao with the first Miraidon. I don't know why we didn't do that. We were ready, but then not ready. Kind of got ahead of ourselves there. But let's see if that actually ends up costing us or not. Jet Energy allows you to move a Pokemon from your bench to the active. That's what they did with Blissey V. So the reason Blissey V used to be good in a colorless deck is because its Blissful Blast does 30 damage for each energy attached to it. So when you play stuff like powerful colorless energy, which is no longer valid or standard, as well as double DTE, right? You get to ramp up and do massive damage. And it also gets to recycle more energy from the discard to itself. Kind of intimidating, a little scary, but we realized after doing some quick math that this Blissey V isn't going to knock anything out anytime soon. And before, we had been saving that last tandem unit to bring out Raichu V precisely for something like this, so we can do a lot of damage and possibly blast it in a one-shot. Although I don't think we attack with Raichu right now. We definitely had it set up for next turn. So let's see how we navigate this, because the reason we didn't use Raichu just yet is because we realized we're not going to get knocked out. So I think I rotated over to Miraidon, attack, survive, move on. So really we could have finished this game in a turn or less, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't too bad, if I do say so myself. There I'm doing the math. So it would have been 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, minus 20 because of DTE. The damage is currently 160, and if they attach another energy, it would have been 190. Not enough to knock out anything as a one-shot. We fleet foot, no we did not because we missed it. We brought out the Miraidon and do the 220. Not gonna get blasted anytime soon. So we stay in the game, but we do take 2 prize cards before our opponent. I can tell you that much. Photon Blaster for 220. The only downside to Photon Blaster is that during our next turn, that Miraidon can't attack. And that's the only attack it has. So, what I'm thinking so far is they're setting up, of course, they had another Blissey V as we anticipated. We are going to bring up another Miraidon, or even Raikou, honestly, and just knock it out with that, because that Blissey V, even with the Charm of Bravery, only has 80 damage left. So let's see how they get out of this one. I don't know, the deck I'm sure isn't too bad, but I'm not a fan of how they laid out on their bench. They have 2 Blisseys, 2 Chien-Paos, and then 2 draw supporters. What I really would have tried to do is get that 1 Frigivax, so that at the end of the day, this should still be a Chien-Pao deck, right? It's not a Blissey deck. We got Switch Cart, which is very useful for recovering some damage, and we do just that. We're contemplating anything else we could do right now. And yeah, just kind of surveying things. We do the Switch Cart, recover some health, bring out the Raikou, and just attack, honestly. We could have judged. I don't remember if we did. I don't think we do just yet. Maybe we Dynamotor one time, but I don't think we do at this point. And we pretty much have everything set up. We've got 3 attackers, 4 ready to go if you count the other Miraidon with 2 energy. And yeah, I think we just judge. That's honestly a good move, especially since your opponent has a lot of cards in their hand. You want to reduce that from 8 down to 4, literally half. Again, we forgot the Fleet Foot, but that's okay, because honestly, we don't need anything else to set up. We're pretty much done. The most we could have done is try to get a second Flaffy, which I think I do that on the next turn. But we take the first 2 prize cards, and nothing crazy that we need, but again, we're basically set up. It's very simple. Miraidon just kind of makes things happen very early on if you know what you're doing. And unless your opponent has a boss set up quickly from the beginning, it's already spelling doom for them at this point, to be frank. They play Super Rod, which is a great card for recycling resources back from your discard to the deck in the form of energies and Pokemon. A lot of decks plays those today, such as Gardevoir, Lost Zone, Chien-Pao. Doesn't need it too much because they do play superior energy retrieval, and that's something that Baxcalibur and Chien-Pao can abuse very easily. They can exploit that, and it's a great strategy. you guys are enjoying the content, I do appreciate you leaving a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on this deck, or if you're playing any version of Miraidon, or maybe any other electric version of this deck, because something else that you could definitely play is Magnezone V and V Star. Very good for the Lost Zone matchup. Its V-Star ability does 90 damage to 2 Pokemon that your opponent has. That could be 2 Comfies, it can slow them down, while also helping you take prize cards sooner. So it's not, I would definitely include it in this deck, I just didn't have it in this version of it. We're going to go ahead and blast the Blissey V with Raichu, because why not? Dynamic Spark, so I get to discard energy from anywhere on the board, not just Raichu. We've got the 3 from the first Miraidon plus 2 more. I think we're gonna do the... We should have done the Raichu if anything, but yeah, we're taking them from Raikou because he's already very damaged, and we're likely not going to be attacking with him. But the most odds, at least to clean up, sweep here, close the game, your best bets are Raichu and Miraidon. As long as you've been able to preserve them and your resources, of course. Opponent has a lot of stuff in the discard pile very early. They did use their resources well. I just wish their main focus would have been the Chin pile. It would have been a lot more difficult for us in this matchup. However, the good thing is that we were able to kind of show off how each of these attackers work, with the exception of Ampharos, but we showed that already. It does 240 damage for 3 energy if you discard the 2. If you don't discard the energy, it just does 140. So it's kind of easy to move around that. And Ampharos EX, because it is an EX stage 2, it has 330 HP, very tanky, very nice. Again, Chien-Pao, Shivery Chills for the 3rd time in the game, but you can't do anything with that energy. No Baxcalibur. So this is game, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, at this point. Alright, at this point I'm just kind of serving the field. We're going to Dynamotor because we did throw it, some of those away thanks to Raichu. We have 2 Flaffy, so we can kind of accelerate more. And there we have it. We figured we're going to be bringing out the Miraidon, just kind of finish the game just how it started. And I recalled, I thought I would evolve the Ampharos just because I don't need to, because he doesn't have any energy, so that's not really the smartest thing to do. You want to save Ampharos for late game, and only after you know he's going to have some energy, because it's not worth it right now. So that'll do it for that matchup. That'll do it actually for this video. Look at that high damage output, everyone. So at this point, we're just going over suggestions. Obviously, the Magnezone is one idea you might want to put in. Super Rod, you can help if you want to bring back some energies from your discard to the deck. Maybe Energy Recycler, only one of. If you guys want to check out the eBay store, that'll be the link down below. Thank you so much again for checking out this video. Hope you stay tuned for more like this. And yeah, that's about it. Play PCGZ Live. It's not that bad. It's pretty cool. It does have glitches that will get fixed up. But until next time, guys, thank you very much and have a nice day.